Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for joining us on social media, wherever you might be catching the show. Every Saturday morning, we're live 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. For the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering of the We Team, Remax Advantage Plus, and I'm Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, Remax Advantage Plus. Appreciate you joining us. This is a fun show, an interactive show. As you're watching, maybe checking it out for a little bit or the entire show. Questions, comments, thoughts, please don't hesitate to put any of your questions online. We love them. We've got a lot to talk about today. Of course, Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, the rising interest rate market that we're in, the low inventory market, and also excited to have outstanding partner with the show, just an all-around great guy, class act, Steve Grown with Standard. Steve, top of the morning to you.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, and it will be a good show. It will be a fun show today, and please, again, questions, don't hesitate to put those out. We're going live on the radio here in just a little over a minute. And throughout the entire show, if you are a buyer or seller, questions about the market, interested in a market analysis, wondering how to best navigate these conditions, we're going to talk about a lot of different things today. And Steve, it's an interesting time in the real estate world.
It is. I have a number of friends looking for homes, and with interest rates, that is a variable that needs to be talked about today, because that is making people want to buy sooner, but also people holding back. It's kind of some trade-offs going on.
Yeah, it is an interesting time for sure. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us by phone or by text or by commenting on the social media live, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Are you a Twitter guy, Steve?
I am aspiring Twitter guy.
I like Twitter for news. Twitter's kind of good for news. The whole Elon Musk thing with Elon Musk wanting to buy Twitter. But here we go. We're going live on air. Again, Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. Thanks for joining us. Good morning. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. April the 23rd, 2022, and we're live here at Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130, every Saturday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, a live real estate show hosted by Scott Wolmering of the We Team with Remax Advantage Plus, Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, and myself, I'm Ryan O'Neill with the Minnesota Real Estate Team, Remax Advantage Plus. We've got a great show today. We are live here until 11 o'clock, talking all things real estate, mortgage, current market conditions, and how you as buyers, sellers, real estate investors can navigate this current market that we're in. It is a changing market from week to week, month to month. And one of our jobs here is to help you stay informed, give you the best information possible. So if you are looking to buy or sell or invest, or you have a friend, a family member, you can arm them with some great information from the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Want to welcome on a longtime friend, partner, awesome, just an all-around great guy, class act, a guy by the name of Steve Grown with Standard. Steve, Standard Water, good morning. Thanks for being here, bud.
Thanks for inviting me back.
Thanks for, you're always invited back, Steve.
That's good.
You're always invited back. And Steve, I was thinking about you today, driving into the show here in St. Louis Park. Nothing but downpouring of rain. I'm sure the phones again will be lighting up for you and your company.
It is absolutely crazy right now. So we do drain tile, of course, which ties into a sump pump. And right now, sump pumps across the state of Minnesota are running full tilt. which means some are failing. So we're out replacing literally dozens of pumps each week. It's pretty crazy.
Just
And
going.
when it comes to sump pumps, we've done, we do pretty much every configuration. We have alternating pumps, we've got backup pumps, discharge lines. We have just a variety. So
Lot of stuff. Again, Steve Grown, Standard Water. We're going to dive in with him here after the first break, but we do want to give an update here just from a real estate standpoint and a mortgage standpoint, what is going on in the Twin Cities. New listings, so new homes for sale down 14% year over year. There were 1,503 new properties that came on the market. Pending sales increased. This is the first time we've seen this in a long time where pending sales have gone up year over year for this past week. 1,326 pending sales or accepted purchase agreements. And then the overall inventory is still down about 12%, 4,990. And median sales price up now over 350,000 here in the Twin Cities, 353,950. That's an increase of 7.8%. But from a mortgage standpoint, again, just big picture, looking at interest rates, everything now has a 5 in front of it. So at the start of the year, some had a 2, some had a 3 in front of it. Now we're looking at a lot of it having a 5 in front of it. So a conventional 30-year rate, 5.875, conventional 15-year, 5.375, a conventional 3% down, 5.5. The short version is that interest rates are now in the 5s. And that's a huge change. Obviously, it's a change in affordability for buyers. It affects sellers as well. And they noted too, I thought this was an interesting stat that I'll share with you about interest rates. It says that rising interest rates have increased more than 1.5 points since the beginning of the year. And that's the fastest 3-month rate increase since 1994, according to Freddie Mac. So since 1994, the fastest we've seen rates go up 1.5%, Steve.
that is crazy. You know, I remember buying my first house, and I think people need to keep history in perspective. Short term, we've never seen rates like this. I bought my first house in 95. I bought down a point to get to 9. Bought down a point. And then, of course, you know, they just slowly kept going down, down, down. So then you go back in the 80s, 12, 13, 14%. So 5.8, it's really not that bad historically, but people might be looking in the rearview mirror and thinking, oh my God, that's really high. Really not.
Yeah,
So-
and I think it's a good point. Perspective is one thing. Keeping a perspective of where things have been. There's no doubt, though, if you have been a buyer and actively looking over the past year and a half, 2 years, and now with the rates having risen, it is oftentimes you're having to adjust your search, going down from 325 to maybe 300 or below 300. It's affecting real life, buyer demand out there. I also wanted to share here, Steve, before the first break, some great numbers that we get each week from a transaction management company that we work with, Alex, with the Professional Advantage team. Now, what they do is they help agents and clients write offers, essentially, for all the clients. So they are a service that a lot of agents with all the brokerages, use this type of service. But what's interesting when she shared her stats, so from April 1st through yesterday, the 22nd, the rate of accepted offers was 48%. So it's like every other. So she's writing one accepted, one not accepted, essentially. Now, inspections are being waived 57% of the time. 57% of the time on offers. And we're seeing issues with this. I mean, we're seeing post-closing issues where maybe there's something that the buyer didn't see prior to closing, that now they've closed on the property, they find water in the basement, they find different issues. So from an inspection standpoint, that can be difficult if you're not making it contingent on a home inspection. It's also why, Steve, a lot of these home inspectors are doing kind of walkthroughs with the client prior to closing. So during the showing, they're accompanying the buyer and doing kind of like a mini inspection, if you will. Does that make sense?
It does. I've got a friend who is a home inspector, and he was actually called into court to testify against another inspector who was being sued because the furnace needed to be replaced. And he did the walkthrough, but didn't do the paperwork. And the judge said, well, what tools did you bring in? What paperwork did you bring in? So it was a quasi inspection, nothing written out. And the home inspector is actually liable. Now, obviously, there's some details there I'm missing, but I think if you're going to do a walkthrough, you got to be really careful.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And knowing that a lot of great inspectors offer that type of service, but again, 57% of the accepted offers waived an inspection. Now, here's another interesting one. Pre-MLS sales were 13%. So what that means are sellers, for a variety of reasons, who didn't put their property open to everyone, so everyone could see the property. So 13% of the accepted offers were pre-MLS. Now, a variety of the companies in the Twin Cities, the different real estate brokerages, Edina Realty, Coldwell Banker, Remax Advantage Plus, a variety of the different firms have often sort of an internal system where a lot of these withheld listings are. And these are listings that don't go out to the general public for a variety of reasons. It's the seller's choice. But what's happening in our market, and again, there are a lot of sales happening this way, where buyers, through their agent that they're working with, their agent, they're getting access to this additional inventory. And that's an important factor. We had a text message come in, it sounds like from a first-time home buyer, asking for some tips on how to get an accepted offer in this market. Franklin texted that. We feel your pain, totally, Franklin. One of the things I would say, Steve, is working with an agent that has access to a good book of non-MLS or pre-MLS inventory through the brokerage. That's an important thing that, again, a lot of inventory, a lot of transactions are happening that way.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who bought a home. They made 13 offers before they purchased one, and that was last fall.
Wow.
So there are certainly some challenges and some disappointments out there.
Yeah, we're going to continue the discussion. We've got a lot to talk about today. You're welcome to join us by phone or text or commenting on our social media live, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We were talking about Elon Musk attempting to buy Twitter. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Always welcome your questions, comments, thoughts, feedback. Maybe you're a buyer or a seller in this market. Maybe you're thinking of selling your home. Maybe you're fearful. Whatever your thoughts are, don't hesitate to join us at any point. We love your questions, comments, and interaction. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Steve, that's hard. You've got, again, the text that came in from Franklin, first-time home buyer. From you, talking to your friend, did your friend finally get an accepted deal?
Well, they did. A lot of offers, a lot of disappointment. Finally able to make one and have it go through.
Okay.
But it's hard to find those.
Right.
And you got to be on it. And then, of course, if you're on day 12, then it's like, well, what's wrong with this property?
Right. Right. What's going on?
So you can't have it like you got both ways, right?
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting time in the Minnesota real estate market. As Steve mentioned earlier, interest rates rising, creating obviously less refinance demand, less people looking to refinance if they've got a low rate. Some buyer pullback. because of the rising rates and affecting affordability in different price ranges. So from a seller standpoint, it's really important your agent is helping advise you on price. Not everything is selling very quickly and in multiple offers right now. That's sort of a misconception that, hey, I'm going to put a sign in the yard and I'm going to get 12 offers on the property. You could, depending upon pricing, depending upon marketing, depending upon location, but that isn't always happening, Steve, and that's hard for sellers who hear that it's like a great market.
Mm-hmm. I think and the interest rate too. I can see people sitting, they haven't sold, they think the price of the homes are going up, right? They're sitting and people are thinking of buying and they're like, well, now I want to wait, but now the interest rates are going up. So I think sellers should consider getting more homes on the market right now. I think I'm not the professional, right? I'm just,
yeah.
But I do think there's more challenges for the sellers moving on and might as well take advantage right now.
Well, that's an interesting point, and we'll talk about this live as well. That I think people are considering: should I sell? This is again almost the 20 years that I've been in this business, probably the best market for a seller to sell that I've ever seen. The point is then, where are we going to move? What if we can't find something? And you always have to remember that the Association of Realtors came out with a new provision for the purchase agreement where you can make your sale contingent upon you finding a home by a certain time. And if you don't, you can cancel that purchase agreement on your house, no harm, no foul. And so there's risk with that, of course, for the buyer on your property. But also it kind of moves things forward. It's kind of the chicken or the egg, which comes first? Do we list? Do we buy first? Obviously, a lot of people need to sell their home before they can buy. So it's an interesting thought. It's an interesting approach to look at. We're going back live on air here right now. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We've got some phone lines ringing here. 612-294-6949 is how you can reach us at any point. We welcome your questions, thoughts, feedback. We talked about pending sales increased this past week, year over year. That's the first time that has happened in quite some time. Again, still historically low inventory, rising interest rates. We're in the 5. We've got a caller here. Let's go first to take the phone caller. Thanks so much for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. The best real estate show at 10 o'clock on. Hey, you know what? We appreciate your brutal honesty and your kind feedback. And what's going on? How can we help?
Something like that. What's your thought? Is that a good strategy for a person that wants to sell their house when finally they decide to list it? To say, coming soon, stay tuned, look at this, but apparently it's not available for showing yet, but you'll see coming soon. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so the phenomena of coming soon listings started, I would say, within the past couple years. So for a long time in the industry, coming soon was not a thing. And, again, within the past couple of years, it starts to develop. I would say initially some people were doing it, as a way to generate some interest. Slowly over time, now in 2022, we're finding a lot of people will do coming soon. And the idea being essentially, as you described, you're putting it out there, on MLS for all the brokers, all the brokerages, all the buyers, everyone, all the websites. You can see it. Great. It's going to be available next Saturday at 12 noon. Kind of trying to build interest, essentially, for that property, giving people time to see it. I think one fear some sellers may have is that they put the home on the market just traditionally. So you put your property on the market, and then you get an offer within an hour or two or three, and you're wondering, okay, did everybody see that property? And I think what some sellers are doing, some agents and brokerages are doing, if they're not going coming soon, is let's say you put it on the market today, and there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of showings, there's a lot of offers, people are wanting it. What they'll do is they'll give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and they'll say we're going to look at the highest and best offers next Wednesday at 12 noon. And so what that does is now you got it on MLS, goes out to all the major websites, everybody sees it. They've still got 4 or 5 days to see the property, put it in an offer, get an opportunity to get it. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope that helps, at least strategy wise, why people do one or the offer. Kind of the net effect is the same, but you are seeing, again, a lot of agents that will do it because then again they can market it personally on their Facebook and on social media and all these different avenues, trying to build buzz. So then when it goes active, it's kind of like a feeding frenzy. You're right. The clock doesn't start ticking until it's active on the market. One little trick, if you will, or what some people are doing in this market is they'll make an offer sight unseen. Okay, so you see that property as coming soon in Minnetonka. It's perfect for you and your family. You're like, great, I'm going to buy it on the 25th or whenever it comes on the market. Well, suddenly you notice on MLS it's gone pending. And you're like, well, what's the deal? This thing was supposed to be, coming soon. Why didn't I even get a shot at it? So what some people are doing, really aggressive buyers, is they will say, look, we're going to make an offer totally sight unseen. We're going to look at the pictures online. We're going to look at the virtual tour. And they make the offer. And if the seller accepts the offer, then at that point, they can change the status either to what we call active contingent on inspection, if there is an inspection. So then they can come through with their inspector to look at it. Or if there's no inspection contingency, it can go directly to pending. And so just be mindful that if you see a really hot property that you like, know that in some areas and price ranges, and your agent can advise, it might be gone by the time it goes active on the market. So coming soon is it's like poof. Does that make sense? Hey, whatever happened to him? Is he still? I like him. Oh, Rosanna. I thought you said Dana. Who was the guy that impersonated Bush always? Dana. Steve, do you remember who that was? Dana? Yes, Dana Carvey. That's who I'm thinking of.
That's funny.
Hey, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. Have a good weekend. Yeah, take care. Good questions about coming soon, Steve. It can be it's an interesting phenomena. It's all over the place, but it can be poof. It can be gone by the time you want to buy the thing.
I have a question for you, Ryan. So if someone's selling their house and they're getting a lot of offers, when do they stop the offers from coming in? So, I mean, it's kind of a little FOMO, right? Their fear of missing out. It's almost like Match.com. You go on a date, right? And it's like, okay, this is pretty good, but I mean, not everyone's been on Match.com, but you can imagine, right? There might be someone else out there. So you go on, when do you say, I'm good?
Well, it's a really good question. I think your agent should help advise the seller, because what will happen in a lot of cases, there is an appraisal. If the person is getting financed, if there's some type of financing involved, the bank will do a home appraisal. With that appraisal, the property has to appraise. Unless, okay, what's happening in our market is some people are doing these appraisal waivers, saying that even if the property, we're buying it for $350, but if it appraises for $300, we'll still cover the difference with extra cash. So they'll do that. They'll pay that out of pocket. So what happens, Steve, is that there's a certain price, a max price that properties can generate through an appraisal because the lender doesn't want to lend too much money on it. So your agent should really help you advise, what's that price? What is that max price I'm going to get on this property? And are we near that? And is there appraisal waiver guarantee? Now, if it's a cash offer and there's no appraisal, well, then again, that could be unlimited. But at some point, it's individually up to the seller. So the seller can make that decision. They could take the first offer. First offer that comes through, they say, you know what? We love this young couple. We happened to run into them when they were doing the showing, and we just really like them, and we want to sell it to them.
So there might be some different scenarios they can map out. There's a contingency. We want this cash offer, no appraisal. I want this, etc.
It can go on, but at some point, a really good agent is going to sit down and say, okay, we've had 50 people through the home. These are pre-qualified, pre-approved people. Okay, let's look through what we've got here. Let's call for highest and best offers now and give everybody one shot and be done with this.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point, if you keep going back on Match.com, you may meet your new friend, but you may lose the wonderful person that you just met 2 nights ago. That's a home run.
It's true. You got no one to call it. Be happy.
Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, and I think with selling your home, it's part of what your agent's job is. Help you look at those offers, analyze the offers, determine what's good, what's not good. But at some point, just remember, it is always up to the seller. So if you're thinking about, hey, I'm going to come in a little lower, I'm going to try to negotiate more or whatever, make your first offer your best offer, because you may not get another chance with that seller.
That's good advice.
Seller may say, you know what, Steve, we got 5 and we're not going to call for highest and best. We're just going to take this one because of this reason. And it doesn't have to make sense. And by the way, it's not always related to price. You may think it's the highest price. It's not always the highest price. And that's a whole nother topic. Maybe we can hit after the break, but we got to dive into your segment. Too much jib jab on my part here, Steve.
Well, it is the real estate show.
Hey, if you're joining us on social media, don't hesitate to comment as well. We've got phone calls, questions, texts that can come in. Had that great text message question earlier regarding first-time homebuyers. This one came in. This is an interesting one. Sue had said, are you finding any buyer misconceptions right now? Any top buyer misconceptions? We're up against the break, but I think one of the main ones, again, is that always price wins, that it's the best price on the offer is what wins. That is a misconception out there for a lot of buyers, Steve. We'll talk more about that after the break. We're already at the halfway point. Got a number of great listings to feature in the second half of the show. Listings with the Minnesota Real Estate Team and RE/MAX Advantage Plus. 612-294-6949. We'll be back after the break. Misconceptions. Are there any misconceptions in your world when it comes to radon, water, drain tile? Any misconceptions from potential clients for you?
There's piles of them. And I think in our business, it's not the sort of thing people wake up in the morning and think about, right?
Good point.
With radon. But one common one with radon is people think, well, this house tested this, the house next door must be the same. Not true.
That's
There's
a good
so
one.
many different factors. So that's a common misconception.
So if your neighbor's house had super high radon, you're thinking, oh my gosh, we live close by, we got to have high radon.
Yeah, not how it works.
Yeah.
Can be in, so many different factors. How the home's built, the type of basement, what's in the soil, and then just the pressure of the home, the air pressure in the home that ultimately brings the radon in or doesn't bring it in.
What are you seeing with your business in this current market right now, Steve?
Well, the biggest factor for us is rain. We don't get as many calls if there's not water in the basement, but now that there is, people are calling. It gets pretty crazy. So It is busy right now. That's the number one factor. Relative to real estate, people are remodeling their basements to get more money out of it, obviously, and improve the satisfaction of just living in the home. If you're going to remodel your basement, first thing you have to do is make sure it's waterproof properly. So we get those sort of calls.
And knowing if your home is waterproofed, say I'm not great with knowledge about my home, how would I know that?
Well, for starters, do you have a sump pump? Because if you do, and it's running, you have some sort of waterproofing system.
Yeah.
If you're going to finish your basement, you do put a vapor barrier on the sides of the wall, so any sort of moisture can't get into your basement. But if people are wondering about that or things to think about, and they're working with a general contractor, certainly talk to them. They can be of help.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they want an assessment, they can certainly call us.
Yeah, that's good. How about from a sump pump backup? What kind of backup system or battery system do you recommend? So sump pump's running, but you're on vacation. Now you come home and there's water in the basement.
Well, the kind we installed, I'd probably recommend, and so we install thousands each year. We don't want problems. Okay. Homeowners are always like,
We don't want
okay,
issues.
Yes.
No problems.
Homeowners are like, hey, what's your warranty? We don't have any we don't want problems. I'm like, no one wants fewer problems than me. I just don't want them. So
Yeah.
we install a high quality pump. It's a Pro Series pump. Only contractors actually sell them, but the backup system, we really like the maintenance-free batteries because if you don't, you have to figure out how to add water and acid, and it just gets, and then alarms go off if it's not. So we like the maintenance-free batteries, and they're good to have.
Yeah, it is. Again, talking to Steve Groen here. We appreciate you joining us on social media. We're here from 10 to 11. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. If you have anything regarding home improvement, regarding radon, water in the basement, with talking to Steve, anything with our current market for buyers or sellers. Had a good question that came in regarding the coming soon phenomena that's happening in our market, and what are the pros and cons of doing the coming soon phenomena. Steve, are you looking to buy a house?
Short answer is yes.
I
am.
Well, and maybe we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what it's like for buyers or sellers in this market, because it's important for us to understand what you may be thinking about or going through. We're going back live on air. Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thank you for tuning in. Hope your weekend is going well. It is hard to believe, but it's almost the end of April. We're past tax day. The sun is slowly shining here in St. Louis Park. That is feels good. It was almost 60 degrees when I drove in, looking at the temp. So that feels good. What does that mean for real estate? Very simply, as temperatures warm up, we do see more inventory. If you are a buyer out there, you've been losing multiple, don't give up hope. We will see more inventory. Be sure your agent is really helping you navigate the best multiple offer tips, the best practices to get your offers accepted. One of the questions that came in before the break is the biggest misconception working with buyers in this market. And one of the biggest misconceptions, Steve, is that it's always price related. Price is the number one thing. You think that would be the big thing for price. What do you think about that?
When it comes to selling and buying a home?
Yeah, price is, in other words, I gave you the best price, Steve. You need to take my offer.
I think.
See, you're thinking.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of factors. I think how easy is the transaction? How smooth is it going to be? You have your interest rate as a variable. Was I able to? Is there an appraisal that's involved?
Yeah.
Do I have the cash? Is it contingent? I think there's a lot of factors. So beyond price.
Yeah, we're going to
I
talk
really have
about
to
a
look
lot
at
of those factors. Got to give a shout out. Fong KO with Remax Advantage Plus, the Minnesota real estate team, has a new listing. This is brand new, 5909 Portland Avenue, listed for $549, listed for $549,000. This is it's a single family home, 2-story, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage, 3,325 finished square feet. It is, again, 5909 Portland Avenue. A lot of really nice updates looking at this photo. Fong is going to be there today, Saturday the 23rd, and tomorrow from 1 to 3 p.m. An open house today, Saturday, tomorrow from 1 to 3. This is brand new listing on the market that just came on. Also have to give a update regarding investors. If you're a real estate investor, we are doing our Investment Property 201 seminar next Wednesday night. Scott Fisick, who is a partner with our show, the Minnesota Real Estate Show, he owns a company called Rental Management Guys. Property management company, manages a ton of properties all over the Twin Cities. Steve, this seminar is all about how, if, and when to evict your tenant. And Scott described it this way. He said this can be an intimidating process for most landlords. Some wait too long to finally evict. Many landlords, thankfully, may have never filed an eviction. With lots of pitfalls, it's easy to make a mistake and lose your case. There are also alternatives to eviction, which still benefit the landlord. Come and learn some tips and tricks on how, when, and if to file an eviction. Hear from Scott Fisick, the broker owner of Rental Management Guys, who has filed hundreds of evictions over the last 15 years. He literally has filed hundreds of evictions. And Scott's just a great guy. I mean, he's a very smart person, runs a great company, good-hearted guy. This is a free seminar. It's in Bloomington. If you go to mnrealestateshow.com, click on our seminars, or mnrealestateteam.com. Steve, that seminar next Wednesday is going to be a good one. Investment Property 201.
Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Hey, we were talking about I was kind of joking. I said, are you looking to buy a house? And you said, actually, I am. Are you thinking or going through the process right now?
Well, it's more consideration.
Sure.
My girlfriend and I just moved in together, and so we're considering, where would we go, and what are the options? Do you build? Do you buy a condo, townhome? There's a lot of choices out there. But I do have to say this: apartment living is quite enjoyable after you've owned a home. So I do think if someone's looking at selling their home and where do we go? There are some amazing apartments out there. We live at the Viking Lakes Apartments, across from in Egan there, and it's just amazing. So the amenities are awesome, but you have to balance those.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought again for a lot of home sellers. They're thinking, where can we go if we sell our property? Remember, again, you can make your home sale contingent on you finding a home by a certain date. That gives you time to find something. That gives you flexibility. So what I would say is don't be hesitant to put your property on the market. This is literally the best seller's market I've seen since I've been in the business for almost 20 years. And we've had some terrible seller markets. We've had really. So it isn't by any means a sales pitch. You have to remember that different market times bring different market conditions. There's a lot of reasons people are looking to buy right now. And again, home builders haven't been able to keep up. So there's not as much new construction that's out there, with lack of supplies, with difficulty finding labor. Steve, all those things are making it a challenge to build a new construction home. But for you and your company, you guys are not slow. You guys are having, I'm sure, a record year as it's pouring rain driving in here today.
Well, it's certainly building up to that. We'll see if it'll be a record year. There's a lot of variables that go in. But thinking about, builders who are building homes, they have supply chain issues just getting appliances. And we have some of those too. So, for example, on our Radon fan covers, They've doubled the price on them, and they're out 3 months. I have several suppliers. I mean, I have plenty in stock because I planned and bought in advance. But those supply chain issues can slow down purchases and everything else. But yeah, one thing I want to go back to, I'm still thinking about the price.
Yeah.
And how important is that? So we meet with homeowners every day, 5 to 10 buyer, people getting estimates on different things. And I think for someone, how important is price when we meet with them? So it's a factor,
Sure.
but a lot of it is how smooth are you going to do this job? We're going to be in the home, jackhammering up cement in the basement, typically for a drain tile install. We want to minimize it. We're going to do it in 1 or 2 days. Our competitors can take a week. We're going to do it with HEPA filtration, exhaust it, and we're going to do it with guys who've been with us, many of them for over 20 years. So there's a trust factor. So how important is price?
Yeah.
We're not the cheapest. We're not the most expensive. But when it comes to price, there are a lot of variables to consider, whether going with the contractor or going with the real estate agent. Or think of your people. Is it 7%, 6%? What do you get for the percent? Is it that price? That's a cost, right? But it's still a number that people have to consider. But if you're going to sell the house for more or faster, it's going to be smoother. It's a top shelf service. People are willing to pay more. It's really an interesting question.
Yeah, it is. It is a very good question. And it is, to Steve's point, there's a lot of variables for home sellers to consider. Not only the smoothness of the process, helping you navigate the transaction, but helping you analyze that offer and all the different variables that you talked about. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why Standard Water, why you're a long-standing company, trustworthy, reputable. That doesn't come easily for you, Steve.
Well, I think with any business, you have to be able to provide products and services that keep people coming back and get referrals. So, it's no different than realtors. We probably have 85% of our business is repeat and referral. And we actually, if I get a referral, someone names their name for drain tile, I personally send them $100 check. I handwrite a thank you. I call them. I reach out. I include my business card. I thank them because it's massive. So you have to be able to take care of customers. Customer sat's really important. I'm sure many realtors out there have websites and they understand the review process, but this is indicative of a well-run company, which I think we have. When I bought the company a year ago, January, we had 70 Google reviews and a 4.2 rating. It's like no one really understands how it works. You can look today, Standard Wire, we have 330 some reviews. Of those 250 reviews in the last year, all are 5-star except for 2. They were 2 4 stars. We're up to a 4.8 rating, and soon it will be 4.9. But all of that is in the formula for the value that you bring, the trust, and then delivering really a great product and service to the customer so they're happy. No different than your business, Ryan.
Yeah, Steve Grown, can't encourage you more so to reach out. Wonderful guy, he and his company. They do an awesome job, trustworthy, local, been in business a very long time. Again, egress windows, waterproofing, radon as well. Steve, before I forget, the best way for people to be able to find you.
Standardwire.com. Just go to the website. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, but you know how you send emails to different companies online? It's like, I don't know if I get a response. We are on it. You will get a fast response. So service@standardwire.com is a great email, or just call our main number on our website. Here to help.
Yeah, very cool. Steve Grown, Standard Water. We've got one final segment of the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We're going to be back after the break. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. 612-294-6949. Great info, as always, from Steve and his business with Standard Water. Definitely check that out. Had another question come in. This one from Tabitha regarding finding crime stats for potentially buying a property. Crime stats. A couple options on how to find that information is some websites have that. If you actually go to Trulia.com, trulia.com. Trulia has that information on the website. Your agent also will encourage you to reach out directly to the police station or to the police in the neighborhood community that you might be looking as well, a way to get that information as all. Surprisingly, it's not on a lot of websites, so it's not as easy to find as a person would think. But that's part of it, Steve, is being able to find that crime info. It's a factor. I mean, it's something people unfortunately have to think about in today's world.
That's a very delicate topic, but certainly needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
What type of school district people are in?
You're right.
Absolutely.
Yep. You're had another question here. This one was regarding how to move a property that has stagnated, that's sitting on the market. Good question. In some cases, that usually it's always price related. So you have to look at price first to see what's happening. How are you priced versus your competition? Condition. How is the condition of the property compared to your competition? How does it need a cleaning? Does it need some painting? Does it need staging? Staging, Steve, is really become very much more common in today's real estate world, just because, again, the way I may decorate my house may not be what buyers are looking for. And so having a company come in to stage, that's a good idea. It's a good thought.
And I met a young lady at a networking event a couple days ago, and her company does staging, and they don't necessarily stage the whole home. There's typically a couple rooms that they make look exceptional. They can do a whole home. I mean, it's just more expensive to do it that way.
Right.
But certainly she's an interior decorator, comes in, absolutely worth the money, I would think.
Yeah, from a staging standpoint, that is happening. So again, if you feel the property is kind of sitting, kind of languishing on the market, what some agents will do also is a cancel and relist. So they'll cancel the listing and then they will relist it on MLS to show up as a new listing. Now, a smart agent will be able to see, a smart buyer's agent, if that happens. But in a lot of cases, the cancel and relist is also a phenomenon that happens in our market too.
It's a Match.com. You don't want to be on the market too long.
Too many days on market. Here we go. We're going back live on air. Thanks for joining us, the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hey, thanks everybody. Hope your weekend has been a good one. It is the 23rd of April. Every Saturday we're here. We welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Got to give a shout out Doreen Yagi with Remax Advantage Plus. The Minnesota Real Estate team has a brand new listing. This one's in Plymouth, 15900 37th Avenue North in Plymouth, 15900 37th Avenue North in Plymouth. And it's an executive rambler. It's 4-bed, 4-bath, 3-car garage. It's got 4,100 total finished square feet. From a closing time, the owner can close in 30 to 40 days. Awesome views of the beautifully landscaped backyard, Doreen says. It's got vaulted ceilings in the main living space. Gorgeous owners and suite in 2018. A cook's kitchen with top-of-the-line stainless steel appliances. Got a great floor plan, fabulous dining room, spacious lower-level amusement room with a stainless steel bar and pool table, newer mechanicals, a walkout level to outdoor paver patio and lush backyard. Fresh mulched backyard includes a paver patio and fire pit. A wonderful listing. This one, again, is in the Plymouth area. It's the Wayzata School District. 15900 37th Avenue North, 15900 37th Avenue North. Steve, we don't want, I was thinking about what you said earlier. You don't want too much market time.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see your response.
Yeah.
You know what?
So we were joking about Match.com. Yeah, you don't want to be on the market too long. There's a shelf life there. So back to the question, the person asked her what we were talking about. If a home is on the market.
I got you off track there, didn't
I? Yeah.
You're like, what are you talking about, Ryan?
But certainly getting the price right.
Yeah.
When you put it on the market, it's really important. A little bit easier, I would think, now because with the offers coming through.
Right.
But as time goes on, it'll be more and more important.
And that listing that I just talked about, Doreen's listing, is 740,000. So 740,000 is the price on that one, 15900 37th Avenue North, and that is in Plymouth. Great property, great listing. I can't encourage folks enough. Again, if you have mortgage questions, needs, reach out to Mike Overson and his team with Luminate Home Loans. Apply with Mike.com. Mike really doing a great job helping people advise in this market. We are seeing some buyers do 5, 7, 10-year ARMs to try to take advantage of a lower rate. With the rising rates now all in the fives, if you're doing a 5, 7, 10-year ARM, it's fixed for 5, 7, 10 years, then it adjusts. There's risk with that, but the average homeowner, again, doesn't stay in their home as long as a person thinks. And so, Steve, we're seeing more people do that type of product as well.
So Ryan, let's say you're buying a home today.
Yes.
Would you do a 5, 7, or 10-year ARM? And also, how does that affect the cost of the mortgage itself?
Yeah, I would seriously consider it. I would think about it. There's not a right or wrong mortgage choice for you. Some believe strongly in a 30-year mortgage, taking advantage of the time value of money, of locking in the rate over time. Some believe in a 15-year mortgage, lower rate. They want to pay the debt off. The risk with that, of course, Steve, is that you pay the debt off and then something happens in life and you don't have any money because you paid your house off and all the money's in your house. And so that's why some people now are taking advantage of the 5, 7, 10-year ARM product, because maybe they think, you know what? Yeah, I don't know for sure. Is this our forever house? I'm a first-time home buyer. We're a growing family. Are we going to be here forever? And so at least considering that type of loan, we're seeing more people do that.
Yeah, I just bought a property, our company's property, Standard Wire, and it was a 20-year AM, and I did a 7-year. It's going to re-rate after 7 years. Could have done 5, could have done 10. The longer that period, the higher the interest rate. So those are things to consider.
Yeah, really good point. Very good point about, from a financing. Had one other question that came in, and again, throughout the show or throughout the week, 612-294-6949, 612-294-6949. Any tips at all, guys, for buying an older home? Tips for buying an older home. There are a lot. From my perspective, I do believe strongly in getting a home inspection. If you are not going to make a contingent on inspection in this market, doing at least the walkthrough with a very trusted inspector. We've got some great ones at MN Real Estate Show to help you look at the big picture items. Because again, whether it's water in the basement, whether it's a new roof, new windows, new siding, there's a lot of things that can get very expensive very quickly. And it's hard. I get it, Steve. Some people may not want to do that. They may not want to do the home inspection.
Yeah, if you're buying an older home, I'd say don't be an optimist. Don't do the hope thing. Get the facts, take a look. You got to replace windows. That's huge dollars. A roof, a furnace, you have waterproofing problems. I mean, it can get crazy real fast. So don't hope. Take the blinders off, get help, have someone walk through that understands what they're doing, and go from there. Because you don't want to, because once you're there, you own it.
Got a question from Michael saying, I'm looking at renovating my basement. Will I get as much bang for the buck with a basement? Most appraisers use half of the square footage value for below ground square feet compared to above ground. So if you put, for example, $50,000 into below ground finishing, that doesn't mean that you're going to get $50,000 out. Your agent should do a very good market analysis on that, just to look and see what should I do. Best spot to put money in. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with waterproofing.
Yeah, there you go.
But conventional wisdom was going to be your kitchens. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Painting, paint, carpet, cleaning, but yeah, kitchens can really do the wow factor. But I would say, to your point of if you're looking to buy a house that's had a water issue, it can be a huge liability if the seller hasn't done anything since the issue happened.
Mhm.
If you've had water, and maybe you can comment on this, if you've had water, that's okay. You know what? It's not going to be a deal killer when you sell your home. The key is, what did you do after the fact? Because the buyer is going to look at it and say, hey, wow, they had water, but wow, they hired this company called Standard. They came out, they did a great job, no issue since.
Mhm. Yeah, I think just in general, if you are selling a home, you don't want to give the buyer a reason to say no. So take out all the objections. So relative to water, if it's been mitigated properly, drain tails put in, if they've resolved the problem quickly, I think that's indicative. Having a radon system installed takes away the question of radon levels, or if it tests high and you put one in, take away that objection. Back to the where you put your money, you know, if it's got the old parquet floors or whatever, replacing those, and that'll increase the value. And they walk in visually, what are the objections they could possibly have? Take them all away.
Yeah, and again, exterior is important too. That curb appeal, driving up. Does the home need a little stage, a little facelift, perhaps with some landscaping, perhaps with something with the lawn, with a painting, the exterior. There's a variety of things that are still really important. This is the best sellers market, even with the rising interest rates that we've had. But people don't want to buy junk, okay? And so you still should put your best foot forward, in my opinion, to maximize that sales price, Steve.
Absolutely. I mean, we all know people who have manicured front lawns, right? They're out there with taking out each dandelion.
Yes.
Okay, so if that's your buyer and you have lots of dandelions, I mean, that's a big deal.
Hey,
you might not think it is.
Great job, man. It was fun doing the show with you.
Thanks for inviting me back again.
Steve Groen, standardwater.com. A wonderful guy, class act. I encourage you to reach out to him and his team. Thank you to everyone else for joining us throughout the show. The Minnesota Real Estate Show is here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We've got a top agent on the Minnesota Real Estate team that is here to help you. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, feel free to visit mnrealestateshow.com. As the #1 selling real estate team in Minnesota, we're here to help you with any of your questions, comments, needs. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for joining us on social media. So many of you who watched throughout the entire show. We do appreciate it. Steve, good job, buddy.
Thank you. You too, Ryan.
Steve Groen, Standard Water. We'll be back next weekend. If you have any topics you'd like us to hit, please don't hesitate to let me know. But and thank you, Pete. You shared the community crime map as well. Karen, thank you for your comments, and others as well. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.